Radio Zero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose at 5 o'clock plus 14 minutes on Friday, April 26th.
You can subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Go to radiozero.us. We live stream typically every other Friday at 5 p.m. Central. Live stream on Facebook, on the Radio Zero page, and Poster Children pages. On Twitch at PCJCUSA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. Thanks for all of our patrons. And yeah, that's it.
It's been a marathon of a day here at Poster Children headquarters.
That's right.
Actually, we met a fan today, right?
That's true.
That's like this guy Joe. His kid was coming here, and for some sort of camp, and texted, and it's just so great to me. It is like when you meet somebody who you've never met before, who likes your band, and they're so charming like that. It was just, that was something else. That was so sweet, that was just, and he's apologizing and stuff. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's like that. I'm a dork. And I'm like, oh, we're dorks. It was lovely. So. Yeah. That was the best part of the day. The bar was low, but that was the best part of the day.
It was good.
Yeah, it was really, really wonderful. So thanks, Joe, wherever you are. I even had I could go in, any fan of the Jesus Lizard is a fan of mine. I mean, I'm a fan of. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that
anyway,
sounded
okay.
right.
All right. So, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I was trying to look at what's happened in the past couple of weeks, and I couldn't figure anything out.
Really? Have there been protests or anything like that?
There have been
Now
protests, not at our school.
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, maybe a little bit, but nothing. No tent camps.
Somebody posted flyers. So that's good. Yeah, we don't have no protests. And somebody was complaining to me, how come there are no protests? I was like, I don't know. Why don't you go protest?
And historically, this campus has not been heavy duty protest in the 60s, I believe that was in the 80s. There was a protest. There was some kind of beer or bar protest, I remember. And then, for those of you who watched, what was that TV series about Phyllis Schlafly, Mrs. America, right? Apparently, the debate that's in that show, and the debate between Phyllis Schlafly and, is it Bella Abzug?
Oh, was that here?
Yeah, at Illinois State.
At Illinois State, here in Normal, Illinois. Yeah, that's cool.
So there's been a little bit, and then of course the Illinois State University was founded by abolitionists, people who are active in the abolitionist movement in Illinois, and founders of the Republican Party and
the good Republican Party.
Yeah, and financiers
back when they were good.
Financiers of the Lincoln's campaigns.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
In order to disseminate wokeness, right? ISU disseminate. I just saw myself yawn because the feed is delayed. Disseminating wokeness since 1857. Come learn with us. Gladly we teach and learn. Glad we learn and teach.
You're moving farther and farther over,
yeah,
and I have to move the camera for the live stream.
Okay. I don't know why I was moving over either.
It's makes your background.
Why was I moving over?
More complicated. I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about.
All right, I'll just talk about what happened to me today. We had like our first inner strife in I know, not supposed to talk about it, but that was kind of exciting because our, like, you know, program's been around for a long time, and everybody's been friendly and stuff like that. And now we're going to become a school, and so we had our first like ooh, interesting moment. So that's good. I think that was good. Our first uncomfortable moment.
I got some Corky coins.
Oh, you don't want to talk about that,
No,
huh?
not at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Inside
hopefully
baseball and yeah.
Was
Also,
this
think
solved
saying
with
first time
communication?
ever is
probably wasn't the
extreme.
first time. Yeah, I guess. But we're known for very little drama. Obama, no drama. Obama. So it's like when a cook gets their first burn, on their arm, like, oh, that's our program right now. Not our first though. Okay, go ahead. Why don't you talk? It's good if I'll just talk about uncomfortable topics, and then that'll force Rick to talk about something cool, like his Corky coin. Corky is Ian Mackay and Amy, whose name I forgot, band. His lady friend's band. Okay, Corky, tell us about the Corky coins.
It's not that exciting. It's just the only thing I could think of because it happened to me in the last hour or so.
All right.
My Corky coin delivery arrived.
Yeah, when did you order? You ordered that off eBay. What made you even think that you needed to order Corky coins?
I received a special coin last week for my work.
Oh, that's right. Oh, more work. Oh, you can't talk about. No, we have these cool collector coins that we get for every 5 years that we work at ISU. We get like a cool little coin, and they're heavy and they're beautiful. And you got like a special one.
I got a special
You
one.
have 4 coins now. No, you have 3, but you should only have 2, and I have 3. I'm jealous. You're going to have 4 then when I have 3. And so, okay, so tell us what that was for.
Oh, just working on the task force that researched and chose the new learning management system at the school, and they minted a medallion for everybody who worked on that.
Kind of looks a little imperial, though. It looks like an imperial coin.
It is a gear, right? Yeah. And so I got that, and then I started thinking about coins, and then I remembered Corky coins. And then I went online on the eBay and found some Corky coins, and I ordered that. I also ordered, maybe we can talk about this next time, I ordered a token for Just Games in Downers Grove, Illinois, which was the arcade I frequented in the early 80s in high school. My high school arcade. It was and so I've got that coming. I'm going to become a coin collector, but I can't think of any other coins that I would collect.
Spaceport. Spaceport tokens.
So
from
Spaceport
UVI.
was the arcade underneath Mabel's at
Which
in
is
Champaign.
now, what is that area now?
I don't remember using tokens at Spaceport. I feel like I always used quarters. Do they have tokens?
Tim Bowers is saying Morgan dollars.
Morgan dollars.
And Dannon reminds me that Joe Lally is in Kuriki also.
Oh yeah. So what's a Corky coin? I think I've talked about Corkies before. So when I was a very young child, there was in the Garden Market, which was the kind of mall-like grocery store, strip mall area near my house. It had, like the barber shop that I went to with my brother and my dad, I think, frequented that barber shop. My mom brought my brother and me to this barber shop in the Garden Market, and the guy asked if my brother Jim was a boy or a girl.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I think that was the last time we went there. And then
your dad used to have kind of longish hair for a physicist.
But he went to that barber shop too. I mean, he went to a regular barber shop. And then the 31 Flavors was there. The Baskin and Robbins.
Where is this?
It's Garden Market. It's where the Mariano's is now.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember where that is now. Yeah.
And anyways, so there was a fast food place. It was like McDonald's. It was called Corky's. It just had windows. You walked into this kind of glassed-in area, and like and they just had order windows, and then so it was based on McDonald's, so original carry-out McDonald's, and you get a hamburger, and then they would give kids Corky coins, and then you could take this, and there were little metal coins with a clown on them, and you would drop the coin. You could use the coin in the little gumball, and what do you call those machines? Like a gumball machine, but then the other ones that have toys, with the little pods, plastic pods. What would you call those? Toy machines? They're not toy machines. Gumball machines.
Gumball token
Gumball
machines.
toy machines, and so you'd put the Corky coin in there, and you'd get a toy or a gumball. And so yeah, and apparently, and I didn't know this at the time, but I got my Corky coins, and on the flip side it says Corky coin, Corky clown coin, and then on the other side it says Walgreens. And so this was a Walgreens concept.
Wow.
And apparently they had 16 Corkies.
Wags.
Yeah, so there was Wags.
Yeah.
So Wags restaurant, which I never went to a Wags restaurant. You did, right?
Maybe. I don't.
You
I
knew
don't
Wags.
remember.
I didn't know
Yeah.
Wags.
I don't know. Yeah.
And then so Corkies, yeah, and so now I have some ultra rare Corky coinage. I got 3.
I'm afraid to ask how much they were, and I'm not sure if I want to know.
It was like $7 for 3.
So
it was a great deal.
Tim Bowers has a good topic for discussion, but I'll say that like there was a place called the Buccaneer in it's in Sarasota, Florida. It's probably maybe it's still there, and you would go there and you could get. I think that they had gold coins there. That I think you could get if you'd get a gold coin, and then you would. There was also like a treasure chest. I think, or I'm conflating that with, there was also a place here, there was a place up in Chicago, like in the Chicago suburbs, the North Chicago suburbs, that had like there's something where, I'm in my 59 years, I can't remember. But
now I'm remembering in that same mall where the Corkies was, there was a shoe store, and they had like a pedal merry-go-round, like you could pedal and go around in circles, but I feel like they also had a treasure chest with coins that you could go and get.
The shoe store. Did they also take x-rays of your feet to tell you what size they were?
Yeah, I never got an x-ray of my foot. Did that ever happen to you?
No.
My mom and dad would talk about that back in the old days. They'd get the shoe stores all had x-ray machines, and you could go and you could look at your foot, right?
The newest in technology.
It wasn't that they would take an x-ray. It's like you'd put your foot
you stand on there, you'd see the x-ray.
And there was kind of a screen,
Yeah.
and it was I think it was just cranking out
x-rays. Yeah, those
cranking
people
out
are all
X-ray.
dead now.
Yeah, exactly, they're all dead anyways.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Shoe salesman from the 1940s is probably not around, right?
But the Buccaneer also all the menu prices were all in doubloons. And
what was the
doubloon was like
exchange rate?
it was like 50 cents per doubloon. So everything was like 46 doubloons, and then you had to calculate it. You had to sit there and calculate out how much it was.
Yeah, those alternate economies, right?
So it was so weird. Like
Disneyland had that too,
Yeah.
right? Had the tickets.
Yeah.
And then there's some other place that had the alternate sort of economies where you had to calculate everything. Like I think it was, what was it called? The England. That's right. When I went over to England as a kid, it had that weird money exchange.
When you're little and you first learn about like how gold was too heavy, so for people to bring with to like markets and stuff, so that's why like money was invented or something like that, because gold was kind of heavy.
Yeah,
I remember learning about that. Like ooh. Anyway,
and I remember people talking about how what ruined everything was going off the gold standard instead of what's really true, which is Ronald Reagan.
I knew you would bring Ronald Reagan into this.
It came up again. I was driving a car full of 15-year-olds to the Y, and I finally just said to them, if there's one thing you ever know or you learn from me, it's that Ronald Reagan is to blame for everything. It's like that's what I want my legacy to be.
I told you so, Ronald Reagan.
I told you so.
Like just like a dead Ronald Reagan grave, and then on it, Rick just saying, "I told you so." That's your.
And it doesn't have to be me. I would love it. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to tell the young people today. Just make sure that it's seared into every young person's brain that it's all Ronald Reagan's fault.
Okay, so Tim Bowers here is asking, topic for discussion, what shows are you streaming these days? What shows are you streaming these days, Rick?
Finished watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith with the...
Did it end well? Or did they?
It ended... Well, it depends on what you think.
That was a weird show. I watched a couple of things.
It's definitely a weird show.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
what
I could
was weird
see
about
why
it?
it did not totally catch on. But I like it. I mean, it's a Donald Glover, kind of. And so I feel like it has some aspects of Atlanta, but then it's also got the action stuff. It's a weird mix, but then actually they're watching Harold and Maude shows up in it, and then I started listening to Cat Stevens again. That was interesting. It's always interesting to see the Harold and Maude. We talked about this, right? We talked about how what's his name?
I'll never be able to pull that one out of my brain today.
I should.
Director.
Yeah. Hal Ashby, the Hal Ashby thing. Yeah, we were just talking about it, and then how what was it? The Holdovers was super Ashby feeling, and then all of a sudden, Harold and Maude shows up in Mr. and Mrs. Smith also. It's just it's interesting to see how every sort of generation, how it starts showing up as an influence or just even a reference.
Okay, so then that reminded me that I want to watch Playtime like in the next couple of months, and I'm trying to remember why I want to watch that, just because it's because I wanted to use the word descent, but like a descent into playfulness, but it's the movie where like it starts out very rigid, business like, right? Like they're at work, right?
Yeah,
it's a
in the office building.
It's like office building going back and forth
through the day.
Moves through the day, and then at the end it's just like this release, like this beautiful, like kind of arty, like just these people having so much fun release, and I love that movie so much, and I don't know why, but it's a very, like, you don't have to worry about a little child dying or anything like that either, which also didn't happen in the Holdovers, right? We were talking about like just watching a movie of the life of, that's really, and like, it's I mean, how come there are no more movies like that? Plus, I need to finish watching The Bad Batch. I watched like one. That's what I'm streaming, Bad Batch, and I think I watched the first episode, and I was like really intrigued. I know it's Star Wars. It's a Star Wars cartoon, but there's like this weird, like there's this weird artistic, like somebody's trying to be an artist in it. Okay, the little irritating girl clone is trapped like in a jail, like Rapunzel, or whatever princess is trapped in a jail, like, and they keep showing like every morning they show, or in the middle of the night they just show this kind of little weird pool, like sink, and like a little water drips into it at the beginning of every day, every day that starts. They show like outside, and then they show this little drip of water into this girl's cell, and then they start the day. It's really and it's like a scientific experiment station, or they're trying to figure out why certain clones have more force in them or something. I don't know exactly what's going on, and I don't totally pay attention to it because I'm so tired at night, but I have to. I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen to this little girl? When is she going to get out? She's going to get out with the clones, the Bad Batch of clones, and so that's what I'm watching or neglecting to watch. We should have the 15-year-old come down here, because has he talked to you about his his health apps that he's downloaded?
No.
Yeah. So he's got a thing, and he's telling his friend this in the car. So we're driving 15-year-olds around a lot, back and forth to the Y and stuff. And he's downloaded an app, and I can't remember what it's called. It's something Zen, where when you pick up your phone and you're going to go on your social media, I believe you have to say why you're going on your social media, and it kind of tracks how long how many times you pick up the phone and stuff like that.
Yeah, he told me he only spent 58 minutes on his phone. Was it today or yesterday?
Yeah, which is unfathomable to me. And like his friend spent like 15 hours on the phone or something.
Yeah, and he's also, he's on a computer though.
Yeah, I know.
But it's the phone. Yeah, it is the phone.
Yeah.
And I did see that. It's like I looked. There was. I mean, I have a lot of. My phone goes to black and white, and then I have like sleep time and all that kind of stuff in my phone. But then I got somewhere where it was showing me how much time I spent, and it was like a lot more time than I thought I did. Like even on Facebook. Like I'll look at Facebook, but I didn't think I spent that much time on it.
Is it like 3 to 4 hours?
No.
Like mine? Yeah, that's
No,
what I'm
it's
like
not
because
that
I wake
much.
up.
No,
That's
that's
per
crazy.
day. Per day.
Yeah.
Like because I'm in the middle of the night, I just wake up and I can't fall asleep. So it's 3 hours of screen time, 3 to 4 hours of screen time. So I do a lot of email on my phone, but okay.
He also said today that he was sitting at lunch at the lunch table with all his friends, and almost everybody was on their phone. So they just sit there during lunchtime.
Yeah.
And everybody's sitting together, but they're all on their phones. And he said that was kind of sad. He felt sad. Like not sad, but like he was like, wow, we're just sitting here.
Yeah.
And I said, maybe you should start a phone-free lunch table. He was like, that's an interesting idea.
Ooh, that's a
But I
great
don't know.
idea.
That sounds a little radical.
Sure. He can do? He's both our child, so he can be a little radical like me.
That's right.
So okay, all right. What else you got?
I don't have anything. I told you when we were talking that I couldn't
all right.
think of anything else to talk about.
Well, I'll interest you with my Capoeira event. That was really fun. We had a great Capoeira event here. Part of it was here at ISU, and then part of it was at U of I, and it was awesome. And we had the Grand Mestre came, and I got to sit with him, and I asked him questions. I could speak a little bit of Portuguese now, so I asked him, what's the best way to play with beginners? There were a bunch of beginners there because my teacher teaches beginners. Like he teaches a class at U of I. And so there's a bunch of beginner capoeiristas there. And so when you're first starting out, and so capoeira is like a martial art. It's a Brazilian martial art, and it's performed with a band in a circle, right? And so people make a circle. At one part of the arc of the circle is the band that plays percussive music, and then two people go into the circle and they like fight each other, but it's supposed to be very theatrical, and you don't actually hit the person. And you have to have a conversation. And when you're brand new, it's like having a conversation with somebody who can barely speak your language, or who can barely speak at all. So when you're so like when you're first, you're like scared. Oh, everybody's looking at me. Oh, you haven't been to, it's called a roda, right? You haven't been to these things, so you don't know the etiquette. And when you walk into any martial arts class, it's kind of like that. It's like, why are they bowing now? What am I supposed to do? It's very, very, very disorienting and scary, when you walk into any class, but especially these types of classes. So if you're going to play in the roda, you don't know the secret, and the secret is that anybody older than you in capoeira is going to try to it's their responsibility to make you look great. That's, at least in our lineage, it's you're supposed to have a beautiful fight with the person, or beautiful dance with the person. It's not fighting at all, especially when they're new. So you're like the teacher when you go in there with them, and you're supposed to like say, hello, how are you? What did you do today? And the person can say, I went to school today. Like that's how the conversation is, but it's all in movement, right? So when you're new, you go in, you're like, you're scared. And then always everybody, the people who are playing the music and who decide who plays each other, they already know that you're new, and they already know that they already know you need to be paired with somebody who will make you look good and who will take care of you. So I was saying to Mestre that I thought it was hard to be a beginner in the roda. I thought, when I first started, I thought it was hard, but now I know it's much more hard to play with a beginner, to be the person on the other side, because you have to take care of them, and you have to, they're probably scared and they don't know what to do, and you don't know exactly what they're like. If they're the type of scared person who's going to try to beat you anyway, and they're going to try to kick you or something, you don't know, or they're just so like, you just don't know the person at all. They might freak out and start crying. So I told him that, and then I don't know if he understood what I said, but he explained to me how to play with a new person. So I have that all like written in my head. It is very slow. It's like you go in there, you do the basic kick, and then you make them answer, and then you do it again, you make them answer, and then you ask them to do it back to you and stuff, and you don't move on until they're ready to move on from that. So that was really, and I knew this already because my teacher, has taught us over and over how to do it, but I always forget, and it's just nice to hear it from the grandmaster. And he was in such a good mood. He loved, like, oh, okay, all right, I'll say something else too. Like when you're in Capoeira, you're supposed to be ready for anything, right? You're supposed to be, you don't know what's going to happen. So when he first got here to ISU, it's like, okay, it's just going to be an hour dance class, dude. So like, just do the movements, and we've got people all ready to do an hour dance class. And we didn't have the instruments set up or anything. And he walks in and he looks at everybody, goes, bateria, which means set up the band. And we were like, okay, and then we had to scramble and get the band, like there's like 8 instruments you got to get set up in front of chairs, and like figure out who's going to play them. And that was it. And I was like, yes, mess today, yes, chef, whatever you want and stuff. And I was like, wow, well, this will be a cooler class because there will be a live band playing for it. And it was so great because at the end of it is just like it was almost like like how Poster Children show ends, where like there's so much energy at the end that Mestre got up and he was dancing too. And like that just made the energy more and more. And it's like at the end of it, since we were a live band, we were like, playing more faster and louder, and everybody was really, like doing sort of the ending celebration dance, and it was awesome. And I was like thinking to myself, God, this guy is so smart in capoeira, and that's why he's a grandmaster. But I was so happy that he said to have a live band. So that was the other thing that happened. Like there are all kinds of things that happened. We got to meet all kinds of people from out of town, and yeah, it was neat. That was my experience over the last weekend. And then I forgot, it was my birthday. And if your birthday falls on the day of a roda, then you sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to play everybody. And so I got to play with everybody for I think it went on for 45 minutes. Like I think a normal capoeira game is like 3 to 5 minutes for this type of capoeira. And I just remember like halfway through it, like Mestre like saying, do you want to keep going? And I think I like had my hands together. I was like, por gentileza, por favor. Mess today. I was like, please let me keep playing. So I had so much fun. And it was the most amount of people that I've ever played in my life. And when I practiced, the next time I practiced again, I kind of imagined somebody in front of me instead of like not doing that. So it was like a life-changing experience. So I had this wonderful life-changing experience over the weekend in my quote research, or whatever you want to call it, my hobby. And then I came home and we all went to dinner, and that was wonderful. And our Buddha statue has a wife outside too. There, when I woke up that morning of my birthday, I went to the window that I always look out of, like where I drink my coffee and like get my food ready. And there's we always have this Buddha sitting under a tree. That's my dad gave us, I think, right? The stone Buddha.
Yeah, so,
he did. Yeah, the stone Buddha sitting under the tree. And right next to him was a garden gnome, like a giant, like a poofy, like I guess is plastic. He's like some kind of heavy plastic.
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, but he's like, he like emanates light, like sort of with a big red bow on it. And it was like and then I thought to myself, oh, that's the wife, it's like he's got a big beard and stuff, but I thought he would be the wife of Buddha, and they could be sitting together forever. I loved it.
And it's a yoga gnome. He's got his hands or his
up. Yeah, his hands are up, like facing up. So
legs
that's
crossed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. So the Buddha and his wife are sitting together. The garden gnome were sitting together. And then later that night we were driving around and I saw a man who looked exactly like the garden gnome. He had a big white bushy beard. And I thought maybe the garden gnome was driving around like getting like he was getting some like takeout. I thought maybe he was getting like Chipotle or something to bring back for the Buddha.
Yeah, what do gnomes eat?
Oh, and then I had a whole discussion with like a friend's child about how do they even appear and stuff, like, and how do they replicate? How would they mate and stuff?
Gnomes?
Yeah, how would the gnome mate with the Buddha? It was a great conversation. And how do they appear? They just like a poof of smoke happens and they appear. And you said that when you went to Lowe's or wherever you went to get it, what the guy said, I hope somebody would buy one of these.
Yeah, they're not flying off the shelf. I was pretty excited to see them, but they're 5 or 6 at the local Lowe's, so there must be thousands of them across America. But
oh my God,
I don't know. Maybe in a couple months they're going to be. Maybe probably later in the fall, right? Because that's the kind of stuff that can just sit there in the garden center forever, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to clear them out. They'll be on clearance maybe by October. I'll have to keep checking in.
Yeah, we can get more.
An army of yoga gnomes.
That would be nice. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. That was a wonderful present. Like every time you get me a present, it's always wonderful. All right. So let's see. The semester's winding down for you and for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're in the final stretch.
Yeah. Our advisor said that you talk about like this baby needs to come out already. Like it's a gestational.
It is like 9 months, right? It is 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's time to have the
you're
baby
teaching
already.
For 9 months, and then it's like, you do want to get it over with now. Get this educational baby out of me.
All right, so let's talk about let's see what so have you been watching old TV shows on TV?
I slept through a large amount of $6 Million Man, so that's probably what loops on the Action Channel. So there was, I think last time I talked about Bionic Woman, but so yeah. And it's really weird. He's got a mustache. I don't remember him having a mustache. So there's like a season where he's got it's like a 1930s mustache. So it's like shaved, and it's not like a full-on 70s mustache. He's got
like a Hitler. Oh no, Hitler's
no.
Different type of shaving.
Yeah, like the upper
line,
part.
The line mustache.
So yeah, he's just got a line that across the top of his, across his lip.
Were you starting to think, maybe I should do that?
No, because it would be hard to maintain. I think you'd have to be shaving that all the time, and so more like it doesn't quite look like John Waters or.
But something like that.
Like that old billionaire or millionaire that I think he lived in Chicago, and he had that mustache too, the kind of pencil. It wasn't quite a pencil mustache.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Pencil line.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So when you're shaving your mustache, like, do you are you like, oh wait, is this a nostril hair or this is do you have nostril? Do you have in between?
I'm lucky in that I do. There is a line between the mustache hair and the nostril hair, but I know some people, unfortunately, that it's kind of a continuum.
Yeah.
Right? So I've got like, I guess, a bald patch. It's basically my nostril. Yeah. Between my nostril and my nose.
All right, you can continue about the mustache now.
No, it's just weird. The $6 Million Man with the mustache. I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. It was like Clark Gable. It's a Clark Gable mustache.
This is a really exciting Radio Zero.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be really exciting if we just talked about all the things that happened to us today, but we can't. So.
And then I watched a video on. Somehow my YouTube feed now has stuff about transatlantic or mid-Atlantic accents. So the accent. You're interested in this, I know, right? Old movies that weird accent. Yeah.
Yes, Rick. I am quite
So it was a
Quite
video with
taken with
he's
it.
not a linguist. I think he might be a accent coach or something like that. You know, somebody who does that for actors, and he's just breaking down that mid-Atlantic accent. So like Betty Davis. What was he? Oh, he's talking about. And it is so weird when you start listening to it. Is
Kathleen.
the Maltese Falcon? So you've got Humphrey Bogart, and he's talking in an American accent, and then you've got Mary Astor, and she's got the crazy weird, kind of not English, not American accent. But just talking about the I can't remember the original person, but then there was somebody who was, did voice training, right? And then it kind of just took over acting, in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, that's so like
like Franklin Roosevelt. They showed Franklin Roosevelt. He's got the accent. It was also, all part so the idea was to create a universal. It was was it an Australian guy? The original intent was to create it. It was kind of like the Esperanto of accents, where it was like a uniform, elite speaking English accent, right? So not like an accent that would be across, all English speaking territories, right?
So let me get this. I want to make sure that I've got this one right. Like the Hudsucker Proxy. I can't remember who the lady is.
And so she does it again in the latest season of Fargo. She does that, and it's she says Jennifer Jason Leigh, right?
Okay, yeah.
So her Hudsucker Proxy accent, right? Yeah, and so they showed a clip from like my not My Man Godfrey. What is it? It's the front page, but with a woman. Oh God, and Cary Grant's in it. So the guy's talking about Cary Grant, and Cary Grant is actually not. It doesn't have that accent because Cary Grant was born. He had a Bristol accent and then moved to the United States when he was 16, and so his accent is not this trained mid-Atlantic accent. It's an actual Americanized English accent. So Cary Grant's even weirder. It's like he doesn't fit into this. And like you start listening to Cary Grant, and it's like, holy cow, Cary Grant's accent is totally nuts. But what this guy was saying is it's one of the few accents that has no location, right? It's totally fictional.
Why do you keep calling it mid-Atlantic?
It's in between, kind of. It's as if there was a country or an island between England and the United States, and it's this accent that sounds. It's got some Americanisms, and then it's got some English, kind of British. So it's like a weird hybrid of American and British elite kind of
because there
accents.
are mid-Atlantic states,
right? But this they would call it the Middle Atlantic accent or transatlantic accent is what it became known as.
Wow.
And so, talking about, so like Gore Vidal. And so people in like, rich kids, in finishing schools or not finishing schools, what were the prep schools and things like that. So, somebody like William F. Buckley, Gore Vidal, right? They all so they drifted into the 70s, right? So you still would hear people talking that way. And then,
can you imitate it?
No, I can't.
We got to get our 15-year-old to do that.
Oh, it was really cool though. The guy's like going through like the R's and how you say the R, like getting a Scottish
you didn't call
guy.
Me. I love that.
I was half asleep watching this. So that's what So Jennifer Jason Leigh. Yeah, in the new season of Fargo, she does the Hudsucker Proxy accent again.
I hate it.
And
I don't.
But
like it.
she talked about William F. Buckley. She's just doing William F. Buckley accent, and after you see that, you're like, oh yeah, that's totally
oh my God.
crazy.
Yeah. Because she
weird.
does. She kind of talks like a man when she talks.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other accent, like the Bad Batch, like some of the Star Wars stuff. You get a lot of Australian, I think, accents. I'm trying to.
Mr. Burns. They talk about how like Mr. Burns in The Simpsons has it, right?
Yeah,
so it's
sure.
that and I'm trying to think of who else in like more contemporary media where it's become a sort of caricature.
Yeah.
And certain people will affect it. That accent.
Oh my God! Oh, I'm trying to remember. Oh, it's like the third time I've yawned. They're like really big yawns too. My apologies to everybody. And now my eye is going again. I looked up the eye flickering. It's called BEB or something like that. Okay, well, back to the accents though. What was I going to say about the accents? What was I going to say?
Well, your sister, has an interesting accent.
Well, so she's said, my sister has lived, for many, many years, 20, 30, I don't know how many years she's lived in England, in
30,
London now.
yeah.
30, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And she just said that, like, at some point, like early on into there, she just felt stupid saying, I'd like a glass of water. She'd like
People would
water.
go, what?
Water. Yeah.
They'd go, what?
Yeah. But then if she'd say, so then you'd have to repeat yourself. So you kind of fall into this, I'd like a glass of water. It's just so you don't have to, just so you're blending in, like you're part of the, and I found that interesting.
But it's also just a natural part of
You want to communicate with
yeah.
which is okay. I'll just say this is why capoeira is everything, right? So when I was playing with people who I've never played with before, they have a certain way of moving around in the roda, and I kind of matched that, and I learned that our group doesn't do that. So you shouldn't fall into. But it's funny because it's some like a having a conversation and like kind of trying to match the person's accent. It's something that people could do.
Mirroring,
in the
it's something
too.
you do, yeah.
Mirroring,
Communication.
And somebody goes like this, and then you might do that too. I'm still trying to think of what I wanted to say about accents, though, because you're right. Yeah, I'm fascinated with them.
Jackie Kennedy.
I can't remember how she talks. Can you give me an example?
No, I'm not going to do.
Damn
I'm not going to do bad like Jackie Kennedy impersonations.
All right.
It's like a.
Is it a Boston though?
Well, that was the thing.
Yeah.
Is the guy was saying there are some aspects of the Boston accent in this that transatlantic accent.
I wanted to make a note of the Kankakee accent. Right? Which is so weird. Like, so, we're Midwestern, so we have no accent, right? Kind of. We're from Chicago. We have the Chicago accent. We say soda or whatever. But, and we're not from Southern Illinois. In Southern Illinois, you can't understand people if you get a certain, it's like they're from the hills, right? It's really, they're incomprehensible. But from between Champaign and Chicago, there's a town called Kankakee, and there's a very subtle Kankakee accent. I love that.
Yeah.
And our kid is like hanging out with somebody who's kind of got a little bit of the Kankakee accent, and I'm like, ooh, is he gonna pick that up? That's kind of cool. Yeah, there's kind of like a more smooth. They kind of talk like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. I love it. So, anyway. What do you
No,
So just one other thing that happened today. I'm trying to get you to start talking about something else. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, I just read a little bit about the Supreme Court, and apparently, like, Justice Alito was speculating about a presidential candidate or a president who in the future might decide not to acknowledge the results of an election and try to stay in office. And would that be a problem? They're debating this whole thing about whether or not a president can be convicted or accused of a crime while they're in office. And it was just fascinating because it was kind of like, this is not a future speculation. This is why this case is in front of the Supreme Court now, is because that actually happened. It's not a what if, And so, whereas what was it Sonia Sotomayor said? What if you give presidential immunity for all crimes, wouldn't that just encourage criminals presidents to, first off, people to become presidents, and then they would just
that'd be nice.
potentially
We'd have more
commit crimes because they knew they would have immunity. So that's a speculative thing. That would be scary, right? Is just kind of like, oh, I'm president now, I can do whatever I want. I have immunity, right? As opposed to Alito, who said, what if he decides not to listen to the election results and tries to stay in
Is
office.
Alito one of the right wing guys? I'm sorry to be so
They're most
daft.
of them. Most of them are.
They're
Yeah,
all right wing.
just- yeah.
So why is he like ooh, that might be neat?
No,
is that
he's
what
just,
he's
he
or is
just apparently has no perspective on the historic events of the past
well, we wouldn't want
10 years.
yeah. Well, we wouldn't want a judge to be aware of those, right?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
because is he what is it? Originalist?
Originalist.
Is that it? No, I've got it wrong.
Constitutionalist? No.
And yeah, so he wouldn't need to think about present day. He'd just be thinking about what the founding fathers were thinking.
Well, what would God want? What would Jesus do?
That's true too.
Do we have to think about that? Yeah, so I've been talking to a colleague of ours came into my room yesterday and said, and just looked distraught and said, I just heard a family member of Trump say something about, there's lawsuits going against Biden in 81 states. and she looked really, it's the end of the semester and she looked really tired. And I was trying to figure out a way to console her. And I was like, that's a lot of states. It's a lot of lawsuits. And she's just like, how can this happen? And I'm like, how are your grades going? I didn't.
And that was
terrible.
Was it yesterday, the day before? It was like the New York Times had the horses that were loose in London.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
The
You were
bloody
like,
horses.
it's the end.
And
yeah,
then
that was
the
freaky.
video of the students being corralled. I think it was at USC, right? The police kind of corralling students.
Well, they're not doing that at ISU. So
No,
let's look on the bright side.
It did feel apocalyptic. It was like the past couple of days. Yeah, looking at the news, it felt like we had once again. I guess this has happened before. It happened. We had a much more apocalyptic whole year or two, right?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. This
It's
is
just
nothing.
getting
Bloody
reminders,
horses.
Yeah, of
But
that.
that's what I was saying to her. Actually, I was like, well, it's not. It's a music faculty, so I'm like, it's real easy to make people say, it's real easy to use AI now to kind of change to do a deep fake. It's really easy to get. So maybe she didn't say 81 states. And she was like, no, I saw the video. She said 81 states, and I'm like thinking. So now I need to explain to her that's doable. That's really doable. And do I really want to explain that to this person who's already sad?
Right,
No,
exactly.
it's
It's
just yeah.
Oh no,
yeah,
it's
that's
even
terrible.
worse than you think.
Yeah, I know, right, exactly.
Because it may have been fake, and you got fooled into thinking that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Oh well, it was fun while it lasted.
Oh, come on. We're what else was I gonna say? Something good,
I did. I went apocalyptic a couple times in class. I always say, when Rick goes apocalyptic, that's end of class.
do they leave the class?
No, I don't do it. In seminars that was more, but regular class. But yeah, what was the thing? It was just being reminded of. Everyone was talking about the weather, and it was just like, oh yeah, that idea of seasons. And we've talked about this on the show. It's
Don't
like,
trauma
that's going to be a thing of the past. You're going to talk to your grandchildren about how we used to have seasons. When like you knew in October that it was going to start getting cold, and it would be cold all the way through to, winter, and then winter would happen and it would be cold. Whereas that idea of seasons is going to go by the wayside pretty quickly.
So,
and it happened today, right? So I'm being blinded by the sun now, whereas just an hour or two ago it was pouring rain and absolutely freezing. And it's going to be 80 degrees in the next few days. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Woo!
So we had a freeze warning.
That. Yeah,
right?
we did
had
have
a freeze warning,
yeah.
which is normal for our area.
It is normal.
I'm trying to remember when the cutoff is for Central Illinois. It's
like around Mother's Day.
That's Chicago. I think we're a couple of weeks earlier.
Oh, all right.
But still, we're still within the freeze warning time. However, we've had freezes over the past few weeks, and then we've had 70-degree days like the next day. And so it's going to happen again. We had a freeze warning last night, 2 nights ago, and it's going to start tickling 80 pretty soon.
I want it to tickle my 80.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So, okay. All right. What else?
I don't know.
I think that, if a president was sticking in office for too long, then probably the cabinet members might want to stage a coup for that president and just throw him out because maybe he's not communicating well. and it's his time to go.
Chris, I always it's what was the phrase? Our friend Chris, who
Chris?
works in business.
Oh,
Chris.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Fee fatigue, right? I think is the phrase where when you're in consulting and stuff, it's like at some point there's just fee fatigue where it's just kind of like it doesn't matter what's happening. It's just like the client is going to say,
happening with Biden.
"We're done. Yeah. We're done."
Yeah.
We're tired of doing this. We're not going to. Yeah, and so that happens. Yeah, happens with presidents,
directors.
Come on. What else is going on? I'm trying to think.
Well, so
I
they
was at the foot doctor, but not for myself. The youngest has got a soft cast.
Yeah, that's terrible. I feel.
Oh, what is it? Because he's got a
growth
plate irritation.
Yeah.
So, which I said it should be his band name. If he's going to start a band.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, growth plate irritation.
Yeah.
Well, I have got if anybody would like to donate some gum tissue to me, because I'm going to have to get gum grafts, and I need so many that they're not going to be able to take them from the roof of my mouth, which why would I want that anyway? That's terrible.
Where would they take, they take them from your belly or your feet?
No, gums. So they take them from other people's gums.
Really?
Maybe yeah, isn't that weird?
That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, well, that's not where I'm going to draw the line.
I'd take an organ probably, but gums from somebody
Isn't
else?
That gross?
Would it be a living person's gums?
I'm going to have to ask. It's probably, no, I hope not. Ooh, then if you have extra gum, you could be a gum donator.
Yeah.
Gum donor. Ew.
Wow, this has really turned my stomach.
Yeah, sorry. All right. Well,
but this is something you knew about, right? You were always told that your gums were in danger.
I was always told that, and Rosita, my dad's nurse, always would say, "Brush down, don't brush sideways." And I never listened to her. I still brush anyway. And now I go to a new dentist, because my dad is gone, and my dad retired, but he's also gone. May he rest in peace. But they're like, well, you have gum disease, and you need to work on your hygiene. And I'm like, I don't think I need to work on my hygiene. I think I've brushed. One of the dentists said that I brushed my gums away. I'm like the Amy, what's her name? That Amy character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She brushed too hard.
Right.
Yeah, she's that's. I've actually done that, and I'm kind of that personality too. I brushed too hard.
Is that true, or are they victim blaming there?
I don't know. It may, but I felt so bad. They were like, and I'm like, if I wasn't brushing my teeth well enough, my gums would be bleeding all over the place when you go to do the scaling, and they never bleed, but that's because they're recessed. But my gums, and they're like, yeah, your gums are in healthy condition. I guess you just, I don't know, but still, it's like they can't put two and two together, and I feel very insulted and offended. My
Insulting. Well, yeah, they're blaming you for your gums.
Yeah, I hate that. And plus, and then they're going to take my money too.
They're not gonna work on your gums for free. They're not gonna insult your gums
and then work on.
They're gonna insult your gums, and then they're gonna make you pay.
Yeah. All right.
Terrible. Well, are you gonna get a second opinion?
No, I don't need one.
Yeah. You've ruined your gums from over brushing.
Well, it doesn't matter how I ruined them; they're ruined. I don't think I'm like, I've got autoimmune diseases coming out of my ass, and the cancer and stuff.
And there's got to be a genetic component to this, especially if your dad's hygienist had said 30 or 40 years ago, right?
No, she's yeah. It's. I don't think it's a genetic component. I brushed my gums too hard for my whole life. Or I had or something, something else, but I can't even remember what I was.
So it is your fault. It's not something. It's something that happened.
Well, it might not be my fault. It might be exacerbated by by having menopause. It might be exacerbated by having to take that cancer medication. It could be anything. It could be, and it seems like it got worse after radiation treatments too. So But that was during menopause, and maybe it's COVID. Long COVID made my gums recede more.
Gum COVID.
Gum COVID, yeah. Anyway, that's thousands. Like they're like, well, you'll just time it over the years, And it's oh my God, how come? And somebody told me that I think one of the hygienists said that dental insurance has always been the same deductible since 1979.
Huh. Well, that's good, right?
No, because dental work, used to be
not deductible. You're saying the coverage,
the coverage,
like
yeah.
for
Yeah.
the different procedures.
Yeah.
So, like if you got a filling 40 years ago,
it would cost $80,
It
and
would
they
be
would
$100.
Yeah.
The insurance would pay
Yeah.
$100,
Yeah.
and now
it's $1,000, and the insurance still pays
pays
$100.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So.
Wonder why that is.
Reagan.
Exactly. That's probably who's messed up your gums.
Asshole. All right. Well.
Yeah, we're close. We started late.
Sorry, everybody. There's just so much. We're under a DUI. No, a TMI. No, NDA. DNS.
No, DNR.
I just want everybody to be happy. I'll tell you, I learned this, and I learned it in Capoeira also. People don't always know, you may think you're saying something, and people are not getting what you said. People don't know what you're saying, and they might completely, the scary thing is when somebody thinks you said something completely different, and then they don't trust you, and they think you're like, no, you did say that, and then like, how can you say, no, I didn't say that, like. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, that's what you say. No, I didn't say that.
Yeah, and then you just hope it's it's nice because it's like being back in high school, but no, it's not.
All right.
Well, it's time for the baby to be born. The baby of fiscal year 24.
Fiscal year 25, right? No, fiscal year
Fiscal year
24.
24,
Yeah, our
baby.
fiscal year's so confusing.
Yeah.
State. It's the state, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the state. You know what it is? It's Reagan.
No, that's not his fault.